You ever have someone look you dead in the eye and tell you your whole livelihood is a fire hazard? That's how it started for me. One morning, standing in my own cornfield, sun barely up coffee, not even cold yet. And there she was, on the other side of the fence. Mara, HOA board member, clipboard clamped in her claws, screeching like my crop was a pile of gasoline, waiting to light up her precious suburb. I almost laughed, really. How could a patch of sweet corn possibly be more dangerous than all those backyard tiki torches and dried-out wreaths hanging from her neighbors' porches? But the look in her eyes. I'll tell you, it wasn't just about grass height or some HOA nitpicking. No, it was a threat. The kind that cuts right to the bone. I should back up a sec. My land, 15 acres, third generation, sits right next to the Meadowbrook HOA community. I've never paid them a dime, never signed a bylaw. My fields were here decades before they bulldozed a single cul-de-sac. And every year come late August, when that golden corn stands tall, I get nervous. Call it superstition. But that first ear of the season, it's like holding your family's future in your hands. Sarah's college fund, the equipment loan, the house. All of it rides on harvest. But that morning I smelled something wrong. Sharp chemical cut through the dew fuel. My stomach dropped. Because no farmer stores fuel by the fence, not that close, not that careless. Now I'd seen Mara sniffing around always with her press pants suits and a clipboard thick as a phone book, looking for something to complain about, measuring the grass, pointing at imaginary violations, snapping pictures like she was building a case. That week it got worse. First I noticed footprints along the back line pressed deep into the mud tracks nobody decent should be making after midnight. Then 3 red fuel cans shoved down in the weeds, still sticky, still stinking. That wasn't an accident. It wasn't even a prank. That was method. I flipped through my security cam footage and there she was. Mara herself slipping through my fields in the dark, carrying jugs and what looked like timers, headlamp bobbing as she measured out steps. I couldn't believe it, but the evidence didn't lie. It got crazier handwritten notes. She dropped in the grass insurance payout estimates for agricultural fire events, charts for real estate values, if distressed parcels came on the market. It was all there in her neat little script. This wasn't about weeds or property values anymore. It was about burning me out, literally, so the HOA could scoop up the land for pennies. Let me tell you, I've survived droughts, floods, hail the size of your fist, but nothing chills your blood like human malice. This wasn't an act of God, it was a neighbor. And worse, she was planning it like a business deal down to the hour and the wind speed. Her notes talked about timed ignition and minimizing suspicion. She'd even set up a meeting behind the HOA clubhouse. Not the usual bake sale, but 3 men in suits, folders marked urgent projector, throwing real estate maps on the wall. I set up my old parabolic mic, recorded every word. When the fields inevitably burn, Mara told them cool as ice, we'll need pre-approved claims, payouts without delay. It was a sales pitch for crime and they all bought in. The adjuster, the property assessor, the whole lot talking like it was a quarterly goal. She called it motivation for reluctant sellers. I called it a felony. They mapped it out. Weather apps, wine forecasts, which night would bring perfect burn conditions. I heard my family's future reduced to a column on a spreadsheet. It does something to you hearing your hard work turned into someone else's profit margin. That night I archived every scrap, videos, photos, receipts, even voice recordings backed up 6 ways from Sunday. I called Aaron, my lawyer. He turned white. This is federal, he said, not civil. You need to call the FBI right now. So I did. Agent Patterson took it seriously, no questions asked. Agricultural fires tied to insurance fraud directly under our jurisdiction, he said. And I almost laughed, but not because it was funny. By the next morning, the state fire marshal's office had dispatched investigators. Suddenly, my sleepy little field was crawling with professionals' GPS units on Mara's car chemical sensors buried by the fence, even a panic button clipped to my belt in case things got hairy. They laid it out for me. People who burn for profit can get desperate when they're cornered. I had to be careful. My family's safety came first, but stopping these criminals mattered for everyone because, as Agent Patterson said, they never stop at just one farm. If they got away with it here, every field in the county would be next. So for a day and a half, I wore a wire, played dumb, acted like nothing was wrong, while national agents staged a sting operation just out of sight. Midnight came, humid and still. I waited in the dark, hands shaking. And right on cue, Mara and her partner, turns out it was the HOA's own property assessor, crept up the field, canisters in hand, drawing lines of fuel right through the corn. My heart hammered as I watched infrared footage. They lit at multiple spots, then turned to run. I triggered my emergency signal. This is Walker Blaze in progress, multiple sites. Within minutes, it was chaos, sirens, lights, agents flooding the fields, fire trucks spinning down the lane, a full-court press. I watched as Mara got tackled by a federal agent, ignition device still in her fist. "You're under arrest for arson, insurance fraud, conspiracy," Agent Patterson barked. The look on her face, man, if only you could bottle that moment and sell it to every farmer who's ever been bullied by a board member. Fire crews got it under control, but not before 40% of my crop, months of sweat, Sarah's college dreams, went up in smoke. There's no insurance for that kind of loss, you know? They say money covers it, but the scars run deeper. National agents collected every shred of evidence, timers, fuel residue, audio, video, you name it. Mara and her crew weren't going anywhere but a holding cell. The fallout. Well, it was something to see. FBI raided Mara's home at dawn, neighbors in robes gawking as their so-called property value champion got cuffed and hauled away. They found files stacked to the ceiling, payout records, property maps, proof she'd run scams in other states targeting farms with the same blueprint, fire insurance, quick buyout. The news ran with it, HOA board member arrested for arson, fraud, racketeering. You could see the shock ripple through the neighborhood, disbelief, anger, a kind of shame that someone they trusted was willing to burn a neighbor's future for profit. Charges stacked up: first-degree arson, insurance fraud, conspiracy, racketeering. 25 years minimum plus restitution fines, forfeited assets, the works. All her investments gone. Her partners took plea deals, testified in court, and the judge didn't hold back. This defendant didn't just burn crops, I told him in my statement. She tried to burn down a family's future. And the court listened. Sarah's tuition paid from seized assets, college fund replenished from the very money meant to ruin us. The kicker. That conviction set a national precedent. No more hiding behind property safety. Any HOA anywhere tries this scam, and the feds come running. Mara's name is now a warning in every farming community for miles. The lesson: you don't mess with folks who know how to fight back. Funny thing now, people treat my fields with a kind of respect, even awe. The new HOA board came over, shook my hand, promised never to let neighborhood politics cross into criminality again. Sometimes real justice means watching the system crush the people who thought they were untouchable. Sometimes it means your daughter gets to go to college on the dime of the person who tried to destroy you. So let me ask, have you ever had a neighbor go so far you wondered if you'd ever trust again? Ever watch a community leader turn out to be a wolf in a cardigan? I want to hear your stories. Leave a comment, share your experience, because you know what? Justice only works when we shine a light on the dark corners together. Stay safe. Keep your fields green and never let anyone convince you to give up your land. Thanks for listening, and if you know someone who loves a good plot twist, you know what to do.